Weird. Hello, here we are. We are bright and wide awake and
Yes.
all just exuberant today.
Especially them too.
Especially us. We're like, we're ready to go.
Beautiful.
Right, also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that Leo full moon. We're like, yes.
Enthusiasm.
We are so enthusiastic about taking a nap.
That sounds more like more realistic.
Okay. We're highly motivated. No, us. Elsa and I are we're highly motivated to take a nap.
I mean, we want to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And you want to get stuff done. But
We want to sleep
you want to sleep.
first.
Yeah.
A lot. Hours
Uh-huh.
would be good.
You had like 5 hours sleep, right?
I had like 5 hours sleep.
Yeah. Well, you don't need superfluous sleep.
Superfluous.
Which brings us to
our subject. Okay, yeah, what we're talking about is so we're discussing how people use like filler words and stuff like that to increase their word count superfluously. So
I like that word.
I do, it's one of my favorites. Okay, so whenever you're writing your manuscript, one of the big things that people are like, oh, word count, am I gonna have a certain word count? I don't have like the right word count. Or whatever. Anyway, that is like the biggest line of crap. It's at least one of them. Like, it's huge.
Like, but how many thousand words are we talking?
Well, like, okay, so this book has to be, okay, so let's use young adult fiction. It has to be 65,000 words, or else.
Or else what?
Really? Yeah, or else what?
What is 65,001 words?
Exactly. If you have 65,001, you gotta get rid of a word. Like you just have to like randomly cut trample through your manuscript.
So I got an idea. At the end, we'll try thoughts.
There you go. So many babbies.
Or just say end.
Say, oh yeah. Instead of saying the end, if it just says end, you'll know that she was doing it to have the exact right word count. Because that is really what's important.
It's really important to me.
Because I know.
Really and truly care so much about my word count.
Yes.
I mean, you should know that from my high school papers.
Oh, yes.
And it was
That's
like,
awful.
yeah, okay. So your schoolwork has to have exactly 65,000 words.
No.
It had that 200 words. It had 65,000.
Okay, so you want to have your word count, like your word count can vary by like 50,000 words either direction.
I mean, guidelines.
Depending, okay, so YA fiction, if the minimum is like 65,000, well, actually the minimum is like 45,000 words. So if you go like 50,000 words the other way, you're gonna like
Young adult fiction.
negative 5,000.
One day at a time.
Negative 5,000 words.
Negative 1,500.
Oh, negative 1,500 words in your story. 15,000.
No, it is 5,000. You're right.
Yeah, okay.
I think you guys doing math.
I was doing it right, and then she was helping.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened. I said negative 5,000, and then she had to correct me because she knows math better than I do.
No.
Didn't you teach her math? I don't. You're so good.
She tried.
Isabella here. I want to point out Isabella is like rock star genius. She is so brilliant. I mean, it's just
And
I can't
modest.
Yes,
Very.
and modest and just filled with like, modesty
And
and,
humility.
and humbleness.
That's the best way to describe me.
Yes,
Humble.
just and modest. But she is a genius and she knows it. Okay, so if you have so 50,000 words either direction is really not the best guideline to go by because, like I said, if you have YA fiction, if it's the minimum is like 45,000 words, and you go 50,000 the other way, you're gonna have negative 5,000 words.
And there was math.
And there was your math. and a really dumb word count lesson. So anyways, what I'm saying is if you have like, you know, if it's minimum of 45,000 words and you have it be, you know, what would it be, 9,500 words? Then 9,000, no, 95,000? Yeah, now I can't do math. 19 pages. Then it's okay. Yes, please no mathematicians critique me. Anyway, like it should be like a percentage, actually, is how we should do it. If it's like 25 to 30% in either direction of the base word count, that's still okay. You should actually, that's actually a really good guideline. We should maybe even have that somewhere. Like
Okay,
post
but
that.
what about,
30% of the word count in either direction.
okay, I've got one example though. Say the base word count, whatever, for epic fantasy story is 110,000 words, okay? And someone has a manuscript for one story that is 238,000 words. What should they do?
What, who is that somebody?
They should probably, okay, depending, they could take that and divide it into 2 books.
Aha,
But what is another reason why they should divide it into 2 books?
because 238,000 words is a lot of paper. And it's expensive to print as one book. And nobody's gonna wanna buy a book this thick whenever they can buy 2 books this thick.
Well, also, okay, so the book that is this thick, it's gonna cost like, if you're gonna make any profit off of it, it's gonna be like $30 or $40 for your reader to buy. When you could take 2 books, half that size,
Yeah,
and they could each be like $10 or $15
yeah, and it's almost like a
for
layaway kind
your
of story.
readers. Well, well, yeah,
Plan.
plus, yes, it helps build your fan base to actually take a really big story like that and divide it into 2 books. Or even 3 in some cases, depending on the genre.
And
And
go over closer to 300,000.
yeah, and it is actually better sometimes to divide it into like a series or not even a series, it'd be like a
Not even-
trilogy or
yeah, you don't have
volume
to-
1 and 2. It doesn't have to be all.
You don't have to like serialize it and have like a
No.
full story arc and a cliffhanger or whatever for each book.
No,
You can just take one book and literally chop it up.
and that's a trilogy. Yeah, you can still have it be kind of like that.
Lay it over the cutting board and be like,
But
yeah. You know,
anyways, but that is something that Abby did point out, and it's really important. So especially like with this type of, you know, in self-publishing and things like that is, you know, a really thick book that has okay, plus it's a whole nother, like, okay. The cover's thicker, like everything about it. It's like a pain in the butt
yeah,
for the
it's
reader
like-
to purchase. It's a pain in the butt for, it is, it's actually a
Marketing
really,
is
for marketing.
really difficult.
And for the readers and everything, it's, yeah, that is really good.
So it's easier and like, okay, it's
More
easier,
efficient
more
to actually
efficient,
split it into 2 or more books.
and more beneficial to you as an author.
Yes, because then your reader is coming back to you.
And then later
again.
on, whenever you're really famous and everybody's like, I want all these books in one volume. Then you can do it,
Then
they'll
you
buy
can
it.
do it, well, you can also, you can like
Yes.
re-release it.
Yeah,
cover
put on a
work
movie
and
cover
like,
or
oh,
whatever,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
Like they did that with the Chronicles of Narnia, you know, sell them as all, you know.
Is in one book, yeah.
So
No,
you
see,
can-
yes, exactly.
You
So
can always do that later.
word count, whenever it comes to your story, the most important thing about word count is that the story has a clear beginning, middle, and end, and does not have random, superfluous words all throughout.
Like, if you say superfluous like 50 times in your novel, you might wanna cut it down a little bit, right?
Exactly. Because
Why
it's just,
superfluous?
it's a superfluous word.
And how many times do you think characters should nod?
It depends. I mean, what kind
Especially,
of
like,
character are they?
yes, sometimes.
I mean, some characters, like, that's all they do, they're like, they know,
Yeah.
that's like their job.
Mhm.
He looked over at Jack and Jack nodded. So I mean,
He
that's,
said, come on, Jack, let's go. Jack nodded, and they ran down the hill.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if that's Jack's job, is like throughout the whole story, he just nods.
Or he
Yeah.
goes, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, let's go.
Okay, so
I mean,
if it's Jack's job to nod, then you can go ahead and nod. But if you have
Except if it's Jack, he wouldn't be just nodding.
Then-
because
Jack, would be
Jack's
like,
Jack's the one that
doing
says,
his
come
job.
on.
Jack's the main character.
He's the one that says, come on, let's go run down the hill.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to have like John would be the one nodding.
Yes, John, I was gonna say John would nod. Okay, so we
have
also,
John and Jill nodding.
No, John.
the other thing we wanted to touch base on is, okay, so speaking of superfluous words.
Favorite.
Oh, my favorite thing in a manuscript to delete is, okay, I have four favorite things.
Favorites.
I have, yeah, my favorite things to delete in a
This many?
manuscript when I'm editing, I got lots, okay, so anyway. One of my absolute favorite things to delete in a manuscript is the word very. We delete the word very. Like I will do a search for it and just hit delete the whole freaking manuscript. Every freaking one of them. Okay, the only instance that the word very is acceptable is if you're saying something like this very minute and you're trying to emphasize on like, now.
Were you saying owl?
Or like if you have.
Yeah,
it
if I bash my
Well,
arm.
sometimes in people's like
So-
dialogue and stuff like
Yes,
that. Yeah.
and whenever it's in dialogue,
Like
because that's how they
really
say it, they're
that's
saying.
how they talk.
Correct. That's the other thing I was going to say. Thank you very much for jumping ahead of the story.
Dialogue has no rules.
Dialogue has no rules. That is also something too, is yes, dialogue basically has no rules because the rules of dialogue are that it should sound like somebody is talking.
Yeah. That's what makes
Simple.
dialogue.
And if, I mean, I say it very a lot whenever I'm speaking, but we don't say it a lot whenever we're
Yeah,
describing
we
a
should get
setting
rid of
or-
very.
That was
very much.
Right, we do not have something to, yes, so. In a manuscript, I will delete the word very,
Very many
except,
times.
yes, very, very many times. Except in dialogue and except if it is like, we're speaking specifically of this very minute, or, you know, in some context like that.
Or like.
I will allow it like, you know, maybe
Or
3 times
Maybe
in a
if
whole
you have
manuscript.
like in certain characters narrating and they're narrating from their point of view and they say this
Well,
was
yeah.
very this, but it's.
Okay,
That's
narrating
kinda like
is still
dialogue,
kind of like
too.
dialogue.
Yeah, that's what I'm just
Thank
pointing that out.
Yeah, that's like
Okay,
first
let's
person
move on.
Okay.
written in.
Okay, so we're
dialogue.
done with the word very. We delete very. The second word is really.
Really?
Really.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Really, really.
Again, the same exact thing, unless it is in dialogue, I will just go through a manuscript and just hit a search and go delete every freaking word, really. And if that takes it down by like 20,000 words, deleting very and really, you need to do some rewriting. You need to go back and like you do,
And maybe get a thesaurus.
yeah, or something. Or anything, go read a book. Like, maybe instead of writing one, just go read one. No, just read
She
it.
is joking.
Kind of. No, seriously, if you've got like okay, say you have a 45,000 word manuscript or a 65,000 word manuscript, and I delete the word very and really from your entire manuscript, and it takes it back 20,000 words, what do you think you should do?
I think that is.
Try
one.
again.
Try
Wow.
again. Yeah, come on.
All right, I wanna, has that ever happened to
No,
you? Okay.
no, I've never had
See.
one. no. I'm teasing.
20,000 words is a lot.
20,000 words is a
Exaggerating.
lot. I am exaggerating.
She's
I always
really
exaggerate.
exaggerating very much.
I exaggerate more than anybody in the whole freaking world.
I'm
See,
exaggerating.
she exaggerates
I
like
know.
1,000 more times a day.
I exaggerate like 1,000,000 more times than you.
I exaggerate more than anybody.
Okay. I exaggerate infinitely. I can't even.
Are we just
yeah.
gonna have an exaggeration?
I know, I just feel like,
Exaggerate.
okay. Yeah, okay, now that's an exaggeration. You win.
Yeah. That's probably.
All right, and the next thing that we delete in a manuscript. Okay, this is like a 9 out of 10 times I delete this in a manuscript. If anybody is starting to do anything in the story, anywhere, it gets deleted. Like if he is starting to walk towards the door, if he is starting to go feed his cat, if she is starting to turn on the light, delete it, just delete it.
What if
Like
she's-
now.
What if she's starting to run light and changes her mind?
That's different. That's one of the 1/10 of a time where it's
So
acceptable.
like she got conked on the head before she was starting.
Right.
Or she was starting to.
She started to stand up and then she's decided not to, or something like that. That is acceptable. But if she is starting to walk over to the light to turn it on,
And it's uninterrupted.
she should go sit down and shut up and rework her story, because she has some action word issues. Okay, she should take a step back and not start anything.
She should start to take a step back at least.
Yes.
I was gonna say she should start to look up some words.
Yes, she should go read a dictionary. She should start to read a dictionary. Yeah. Okay, so my point is those are not,
Yeah.
we're laughing and joking about it.
Yeah, we're being.
But we're exaggerating.
Yeah.
Not really. Anyways, so whenever we're talking about words like this, like just use strong verbs instead of saying, she started to stand up and walk over to the door. Let's put some real action into this and say, she walked over to the door.
Yeah,
That's a lot of action.
more.
It's like just, yeah, it is like way more action packed, and it's without using any like really strong major words there. It's not even,
say like she pranced to the door.
No.
Or anything like
But
that.
it-
She just walked.
she just walked.
She got up and walked to the door.
Yes,
She didn't
exactly,
Get up and start walking to the door.
exactly.
You didn't have to include that she got up, because obviously she got up and she walked to the door.
Thank
What if
you.
she's already standing?
Exactly.
Then she didn't get up. So if she's sitting,
So now we're gonna argue over semantics here.
Maybe she should get up if
so-
she's sitting.
Consider these things in your work, but the point is like delete all these extra words.
Yeah.
We don't need to start to do anything. We do not need words like really and very, and then adverbs should only be used, of course, sparingly. I'm sure everybody's heard this like a million times. Adverbs should be used sparingly. And the thing is adverbs are like beautiful words. Okay, they actually really are. They're actually
Sound nice.
see, I use them a lot, especially in dialogue.
She's just like 6 and
I just use 6 of them in like 5 seconds. So, okay. Because they are such lovely words, they should be used like, like icing or sprinkles or something like on a cake. No, wait,
Because if
that's
your
wrong.
cake's made out of icing.
Oh, yeah. You should have some cake. And then icing on top. That's
You
right.
don't wanna like have icing.
Like a bowl of icing, like a big giant 9x13 icing. You shouldn't have that. 'Cause that's what a book of adverbs is.
Yeah.
Is just like a great big, or it's like
You might want
it's like a
some
half
cake in
like a sheet cake of
No,
icing, nothing but icing.
I was
Okay.
thinking of like this little cake that has like, and the icing's like this.
Well,
stick around it.
It depends on the length of your novel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a really long, 230,000 word novel, I mean, we're talking, that's just, and it's all adverbs. I mean, you've got a whole sheet cake and it's nothing but icing.
No, I was just like the cake, it's like this.
Okay.
It's like
But what about for the
3
people who
layers,
don't
but
like-
then like the cake, the layers won't be this big.
What about for
of
the
a
people who
cake.
don't like the cake?
They shouldn't write.
They should at least have some ice cream.
Yes, there you go, have some ice cream with your icing. No, I don't know, I'm not sure if that's working. Anyways,
Yeah, all we're saying is
Have
like.
some pie.
Have a piece of pie.
have a piece of pie.
Um,
Have a pastry. What were those packaged? Oh my goodness, they were so good. The scones with the cranberries and oranges. Oh my goodness, those were so yummy.
and they didn't have any icing on them.
They didn't have any
adverbs.
icing. No adverbs whatsoever.
Just
They had
cranberry,
just-
lemons.
Well, and the cranberry and the lemons are like rich action words.
Orange, actually.
Yeah,
No, I was wrong with it.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
turning
But anyhow,
scones
it's
into
really
novels
good.
now.
Yes.
Your novel should be scones because scone word.
Okay, anyways, did I say it wrong?
No.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
No, I was.
Anyways, so let's stick with our strong words. Let's not use a lot of extra words. And so, okay, we also don't want to be going like past the word count, just randomly with all these extra words that don't mean anything. Your story should be very punctuate. And let's see. Some good example. Let's see, a good example. I'm going to recommend. Can you grab me Greg's book right there? I am actually, we were talking before about this book, and this guy, he uses very strong words in his writing, all of his writing. These are like, this is a book of short stories. They're all set in different places across the United States. And they're fantastic. I mean, they're like, look, there's an adverb.
Ooh,
And there's an adverb, but it's in dialogue.
Yeah.
But like he took off his suit coat, handed it to an attendant, and rolled up his sleeve. All action, like no extra words randomly for no reason. So I highly recommend this. Is Greg Voss, and this is The Valley of American Shadow. This is a book of short stories, so they would be easy to read. Also, if you did want to read them for
learning,
like for studying something, to say, hey, this is something that this is a guy, he writes well, and his writing is punctuate. It's just really and it's really good. Like it's rich. It has like a real richness to it. You read some of these, so they were
they were very the ones I enjoyed them, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. They're really, and because they're short stories though, like you could read one and like think about the writing and stuff like that. And then, then you can read another one. So it's not something that would take away from, if you're writing a book or something.
Yeah, you
So
wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta read this whole
you don't
book.
have to read the whole book at once. You could like go in here and like, read one at a time. That's actually one thing about short stories. Like I have that one book of the Alfred Hitchcock collection, and it's like this, big thick book. But what I liked about it was like I would just read like one story every night before I went to bed. Like Tales of Terror or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
What was the haunted? Yeah, 30 days of anyway. So there was like 30 stories in it or whatever, and they were short stories. And I would just read, one right before I went to bed every night. And it was, well, partly too, it was a nice disciplined way not to like sit and be like reading the entire book until 4 o'clock in the morning because I can't put it down. So I like short stories for that. That's actually one of the things I really like about books like that. But
Yeah, I've been trying to write short stories for a long time.
I have some short stories that I should actually put published.
Yeah,
I'd like to add to them.
I need to practice because all my short stories turn into novels.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, my
Also,
short
Mom
stories,
has a lot of good
I have a whole bunch of
I
short
love all
stories,
your
and
short
they're
stories.
actually, I don't think they could be added to necessarily. There's only like maybe 2 of them that could really be extended to where they'd be worthwhile. But I got, that just gave me an idea. So anyways, we're gonna put somebody to work.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anyways, that's one of the things. So this book, I really, really do recommend this book. This is Greg here on the back. He's absolutely fantastic. And of course, does that show it backwards? We'll flip it. So go ahead and put it up like that. Thank you very much, Elsa. She's like Vanna White, only prettier. Anyways, so if you want to do some research and a good excuse to buy fun fiction stories as well, not only are they fantastic to read and support an indie author and learn something about writing and really good writing, I highly recommend that you get Greg's book, The Valley of American Shadow, and it is on Amazon right now. So get that, study it, and enjoy it, because
Why not buy books?
Yes, buy books, but also though, that
Yeah, that
does, he really has a good style of writing there. So one of the things he also does is he writes for a newspaper as well, so I think that's part of the reason why he's like so good at the way he writes with the fiction stories, and he writes like, it's like, some of it's like science fiction, and some of it's like metaphysical, and it's like just,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
really
weird
super
and bizarre.
and fun.
Intriguing.
And yeah, exactly, it really is, and some of it's like kind of scary and suspenseful. It's just, I don't know, anyway, really, really, really like his work, so highly recommend him. And you should also, you should always support indie authors.
Mhm.
And
And that's his debut too, right?
and yeah,
So there you go. That's
Excellent
another reason to
story.
support him.
yes, and he actually, I'm hoping that his novels will come out so soon. Looking forward to it. So he mostly uses like adverbs and stuff like that, is mostly in dialogue. So that's what we were talking about, dialogue. Let's go back to that. So if you want to use like all these wonderful, adverbs and, have your characters talk like that, I mean, go right ahead. I mean, because, okay, listen to me. How many times did I say like in the past 5 minutes? How many adverbs did I use in the past 30 seconds?
I lost count.
I mean, and how many times did I exaggerate? I mean, really? See, really? I say that all the time.
Really?
Really?
Really? You say it like.
Yeah, that's actually the one writer I was watching, because like he uses like less like words and stuff like that, like
Who?
character in my book.
Oh, in your book. Okay.
Yeah, he is much
Yeah.
more laconic.
Well, if he's trying to
That's
like,
no,
he's like the strong silent type. I mean, I don't know.
no, no, I'm just really, yeah, no, he has very,
Oh, the sarcastic type. Well,
no,
yeah.
no, what I was saying is he has a very wide vocabulary.
Oh.
So he uses superfluous words.
Yeah, he has a very wide vocabulary, and he doesn't like repeat like really in life all the time, but like I have other characters that
They
you know,
do.
they do, like really do.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying, is
That's what I'm
whenever,
saying, it's like,
but it also establishes
Yeah.
the character.
That's-
The dialogue
yeah,
is part of
different.
establishing the
Yeah.
character. And so the dialogue should be different with all of the characters. All the
Mm-hmm.
characters don't talk the same. I mean, we mostly talk the same,
Mhm.
but we live in the same house. We're always,
Yeah.
so we're totally different. But anyways, if other people did that too,
Mhm.
they're, we all live in the same. You talk to people, the same people every single day, and
When-
and
yeah.
talk.
I just like I have to be I have to
You're gonna
double
pick up
check
some
the characteristics,
Yeah.
because
But most characters are not gonna
Like,
speak the same.
yeah, that's what I was saying,
all
it's
the
like
time.
some characters are like really
Right, Elsa?
really well educated,
You
You
so
just
like,
feel like this.
And say, right, mother.
Oh.
that's what I'm saying, is like,
I pull your hair.
My hair, sorry.
if the character's really well educated, then like, they probably have a,
They're not gonna use the word like and really.
but like, then like there's ones that are like less educated.
But see, I'm really like.
And then they're
educated,
like ones
and
that
I
are like,
talk like this.
Yeah.
she's in between.
She's like
you know,
uneducated though.
Yeah, that's what I like me.
And I'm really smart, and I still talk like this.
Yeah.
And to like
Mhm.
listen to me talk,
It's just
depending on
like
what I'm
dialogue,
saying,
though,
people have
It
absolutely
really
no clue.
establishes character, that's all.
And sometimes they think that I might be clueless. And then I hit them with a line like, so how does your company replace nonprofits if it's a nonprofit too?
And then the whole pitch that they prepared crumbles before their eyes.
Makes
and they're
people
like-
not dependent on nonprofits.
And they're just like,
This makes it, our whatever makes it so that, they're no longer dependent on nonprofits. So you're a profit company? Well, no, we're a nonprofit too. Well, then how are you making it? No, anyway, never mind. Anyway, sorry, somebody we ran into the other day, and was like, I didn't understand. It was really cute though. She was cute. Gotta admit, she was adorable. Oh yeah, she was bright and just didn't use the brain cells that she's been blessed with yet, because she's young yet, and she's inexperienced, and she's sweet, and maybe she'll have some mental stimulation in there somewhere, whenever she goes out and does something with her life. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Instead of parroting what other people tell her. Okay, Sorry, keep
Okay.
moving on.
Mhm.
Hurry, somebody catch this train before I derail. Save it.
We were talking about dialogue and,
We're talking about word count.
no, we were
It's
talking
actually
about word count.
primarily.
Then we went into, we kind
So,
of like, we're moving back and forth.
I've got an idea.
Dialogue establishes the
Question,
character, word count isn't important.
Abby has a question.
I mean, talk.
It's time for you to stop talking.
What if someone's book's not long enough?
Oh my goodness, if their book is not long enough,
Then it's a novella.
then make it be a novella. And if it is a complete story, there's nothing wrong with it being less than the typical word count as well.
Yeah, if it's like 29,000 words,
Absolutely.
then it's not
That's
an adverb.
Absolutely.
Then it's not entirely.
Okay, so if it's 29,000 words and
Then it's a novella.
What
Like,
Isabella, what if it's 29,999?
then they can add the instead of just saying. and.
no, they can have it say
The.
no, they can have it
The
say
end.
the la end.
Alright.
Okay, now it's an novel.
See? Ta-da. Okay,
I think we went
so
over the word count.
we did. We went way over the word count.
This episode is so long.
This is
Let's go back and get all the filler words.
one of these days. Okay, so if you ramble on in your books like we do whenever we're talking in these shows, then
You might need to edit
might need like some serious editing
for your book.
for your
I mean,
book.
If we edit the video, then it'd be pointless.
And yeah, if we edit all this superfluous stuff out of this video, then we might as well not even.
Then the lesson won't stick.
And yeah, there's that too. So. Yes.
It's like, oh, you guys are writing now, so that means we're done.
Yeah, I was just
Okay,
making
so-
notes,
yeah,
because I was thinking about rambling, so I guess since we're done rambling
I
in
was
this
just
episode, do you
I'm
think-
in.
Hey, I just wanna let you guys know, whenever she makes notes here, she actually just made 2 lines.
Okay, well, those were, I was making a little check mark on stuff that I talked about.
Check mark.
It's my check mark. It's my style of check mark. I'm just gonna use a slash instead of a check mark. Holy crap. She's like
Also,
criticizing.
you don't even make notes.
Yes, you don't even have notes. You can't criticize my notes if you don't have
Elsa,
notes.
you just made her say slash instead of dash.
We're gonna have to go. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye.